Hello! Today I would like to say a couple of words about the new CBS show called Vegas. I have to admit I was pretty prejudiced about that, as I thought it will be just another trashy western resembling Walker, Texas Ranger, with tough cowboy guys and pretentious speeches, with ruthless criminals and corrupted officials, with a main character being the only one who can solve all the crimes, win a fight alone against three guys, and just carry around his rifle with him everywhere he goes. Well, it was all of that, and yet I quite liked it. The two main characters are Rancher Ralph Lump, played by Dennis Quaid. That's an old guy with permanently angry face, most of the time armed. The kind that the Republican Party is constantly trying to appeal to. And Vincent Savino, played by Michael Chiklis, a great businessman, casino owner, and surprise surprise, a crew gangster. Honestly speaking, so far I liked the latter more. As I said, he seems to have some entrepreneurial and, for that matter, managerial skills. Yeah, so if he wasn't a gangster, he would still be able to make money on this casino. Plus, he seems to have some sort of principles, as we see him beat up his subordinate servant who took the liberty, without his order, to lay his hands on one of the casino workers. Carrie-Anne Moss is playing an assistant district attorney, Catherine O'Connell, who was raised on a ranch next to Lamb's, so she knows him well. She'll probably become Lamb's crush, if I may use that word. So far, Moss's character wasn't convincing in terms of her set of professional skills, but she looked great in this 60s style clothes. The episode followed the rules of a typical police procedural. First, a body of Governor's niece, Samantha Mead, is found. We later learn that she worked in Savina's casino verifying credit limits for high rollers. Lamb is put in charge of this investigation because the current sheriff is hiding somewhere from the gangster's wrath. Lamb asks his brother Jack and his son Dixon for assistance. In return, Mayer promises to deal with the airplanes flying above Ralph's ranch and scaring his cattle. We meet a number of suspects, like Samantha's boyfriend and a bunch of bikers, but it's Ralph sneaking around in casino, what eventually helps establish that before her unfortunate death, the victim had a meeting with a guy called Stuart Mills, an employee of a bank who is thought to be stealing from his place of employment to gamble and who is now nowhere to be found. Lamb finds him, of course, in a cheap motel, but Mills says he's not the murderer and that he believes that Samantha's boss, Perrin, who had a secret deal with him, killed her, and eventually Perrin is brought to justice, but not before some chasing and shooting tires was performed. In the meanwhile, Savina kills the current sheriff, who was drawn out to the desert by Catherine's boss, the attorney. After the dead body of a former sheriff is found, Lamb takes his place, and he becomes the law officially. The recreation of a time when the story is happening is very solid. It is interesting that things characteristic to that period of American history in the region matter to the storyline, like how the dead body was discovered by pilots performing a sweep before the next blast on a nuclear test site. I'm looking forward to seeing more of such references. It was a simpler time when everybody could punch anyone in the face, when Mayer had the power to release an arrested man and put him in charge of an investigation of a resonant murder, when sheriff could lock up the lawyer in a cell with a bunch of his criminal clients, when evidence found during the search without a warrant still counted as evidence. As I said, it turned out much better than expected, so I'll keep watching it.